Hi, everybody, and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you're all doing well. Deontay Wilder, former WBC heavyweight champion of the world and Olympic bronze medalist. 48 fights, 43 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. 42 of his 43 wins have come by knockout, giving him a knockout ratio of 98%, which is obviously very impressive and makes Deontay Wilder one of the biggest punchers ever in the history of the heavyweight division. Now, Deontay Wilder, he won the title back in 2015, courtesy of a points decision over Haiti's Demise, and he held the title for 5 years thereafter. During that time, he made 10 successful defenses, which is actually equal to a record previously held by Muhammad Ali. He shares that record, so that's pretty impressive. However, in February 2020, Deontay Wilder would run into a man that would prove to be his nemesis. That man was Tyson Fury. Yes, Tyson Fury from the UK, aka the Gypsy King. Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder in February 2020. Their first fight ended in a draw. There was a lot of controversy surrounding that decision. A lot of people thought that Tyson Fury did enough to win. Me personally, I watched the fight. I didn't have too much of an issue with the draw decision. I thought that a lot of the early rounds, there wasn't that much going on. And in fact, Deontay Wilder provided the 2 biggest memorable moments of that fight. He dropped Tyson Fury heavily in round 6, I think it was, and again in round 12. The knockdown in round 12 actually saw Tyson Fury on the floor for longer than the designated 10 seconds. So if anything, Tyson Fury was slightly fortunate not to get counted out. But anyway, there was, like I said, there was a lot of controversy surrounding that fight. It led to them having a rematch. And in the rematch, Tyson Fury proved beyond doubt he was a better man. He won the fight conclusively, battering Deontay Wilder and knocking him out in what a lot of people said was Tyson Fury's, or certainly one of his best performances of his career. They fought again subsequent to that because Deontay Wilder made a lot of excuses, including some real way far out ones, like the suit he wore into the ring was too heavy and drained him of his energy. He accused some of these people surrounding him of poisoning him. There was all sorts of stuff he said. Anyway, it parlayed into a rematch. They had the rematch. Tyson Fury once again bested Deontay Wilder, knocked him out. I think Wilder was a little bit more competitive in the third fight. He did actually have Tyson Fury on the floor twice in that fight. But ultimately, Tyson Fury proved to be the better man. And since then, I think it's fair to say that Deontay Wilder career has been on a downward trajectory. Indeed, he's only won 1 fight during that time. That was a first round knockout win over Robert Elenius. But yeah, he was defeated by Tyson Fury twice. He also lost to Joseph Parker, quite widely outpointed in a disappointing fight. I mean, before the fight, a lot of people thought that Deontay Wilder would beat Joseph Parker. But on the night, he was a pale shadow of himself, and he was easily beaten in a fight that provided few thrills, to be honest. He was then matched against Zhilei Zhang in Riyadh. That didn't end too well for Deontay either. In fact, he was brutally knocked out in the 5th round. You remember that Zhilei Zhang landed a big shot on Wilder, at which Wilder appeared to turn his back. Zhilei Zhang chased him around the ring and landed another pulverizing left hook. Or was it a right hook? I mean, southpaw. But anyway, he landed a big shot, face planted Deontay Wilder and knocked him out. Quite a humiliating defeat for Wilder, to be honest. And yeah, things have not looked the same since for Deontay Wilder. And I've got to say as well, it wasn't just inside the ring Deontay Wilder was having problems. He was also having problems outside the ring. I mean, literally, as he was making his way back to America from Saudi after that devastating loss to Zhilei Zhang, his long-term partner and fiancée, Telly Swift, was taking out a restraining order against Deontay Wilder. She accused him of domestic violence, spousal abuse, mental abuse, lots of different things. She said that she was in fear of her life, especially given that he had lost the fight to Zhang, she was worried about her safety. So she took out a restraining order. She was successful in doing that. There was also a very public spat with Deontay Wilder's brother, Marcellus, who previously they had been close. Now Marcellus Wilder was saying that Deontay Wilder had been sleeping with more than one of Marcellus Wilder's girlfriends, which is a bit weird to say the least, if true. But that's what Marcellus Wilder maintained. He also said that Deontay Wilder was actively trying to sabotage Marcellus Wilder's career. Marcellus Wilder was a professional boxer at that time, and he made the claim that Deontay Wilder was actively trying to sabotage his career. You add to that the injuries that Deontay Wilder was having at that time as well. I think he had problems with his bicep, had a torn bicep that required surgery. He had problems with his shoulder that required surgery. So the problems are piling up. And then to make matters worse, Deontay Wilder has had long documented issues with his mental health. He's admitted to going through bouts of depression. In fact, he said that he felt suicidal at times. He also said that he had to give himself a full mental health welfare check because he was worried that he was going through long bouts of depression and couldn't see a way out. So he's been through a very difficult time. And, you know, a lot of people outside the ring are worried for him. And a lot of people, some of those very close to him, including his own mum, have called for him to retire from boxing. They've said, look, Deontay, you came into the sport quite late. You've overachieved. You made a lot of money. You won titles. You know, you've done way more than was expected. You know, try and leave the sport in relatively good health. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. However, Deontay Wilder, like many fighters before him, appears not to want to heed that advice. He refuses to accept that his best days are over. And he's recently announced that he's to make a comeback to the ring in June of this year. An opponent has been found. His name is Tyrell Herndon, 37 years old. He's from Texas. He's pretty much a journeyman fighter. He does have 29 fights, 24 wins and 5 losses. But a closer inspection of his record will tell you that the only 2 names on that record of any note are both beating him and beating him comprehensively. One was Richard Torres Jr. He's a young up-and-coming pro, former Olympian himself, actually. He knocked out Tyrell Herndon in 2 rounds, floored him several times, got him out of there in 2 rounds. F.A. Ajagba, you may have heard of him. He's a top contender for the heavyweight title. He's due to fight Martin Bakole later in this year for IBF Eliminator. He got Tyrell Herndon out of there in 1 round. So I think it's fair to say that Tyrell Herndon has been selected by Deontay Wilder's team because they think he's a bit of a soft touch and he will give a much needed win to Deontay Wilder in this comeback that he's making. For me, I've got to say, I've got to be honest, I think Deontay Wilder should retire. I think he's reached his ceiling. I can't see him enjoying a long, fruitful comeback. I happen to think that the first half-decent fighter he comes up against, he's very likely to get beaten. I think his punch resistance is not what it was. I mean, let's be honest, Wilder never was the most skillful. What he relied on before was the big right hand. And don't get me wrong, that was a powerful weapon. He also fought with a lot of heart and a lot of courage, so you can't question him there. However, I do think that that ship sailed for Deontay. I think he should have retired. But listen, as I said before, these guys, they do tend to want to stay on. I think it's a lot of it to do with ego. Knowing Deontay Wilder as I do, I can't imagine him wanting to go out the sport off the back of a loss, especially the loss he suffered to Zhilei Zhang. As I said, it was pretty embarrassing. I can kind of understand why he wants to come back and have another fight, but he's talking about coming back and winning titles, and I definitely can't see that happening. Not at all. In fact, I think if he carries on, he's in danger of becoming that guy that a lot of the younger fighters will just want that name on their record. And even if, you know, notwithstanding the younger guys, I mean, if you're Anthony Joshua, for example, you'll be looking at Deontay Wilder as pretty much food at this stage of his career. In fact, if I was AJ and I'm hearing that Deontay Wilder's launching a comeback, based on what we've seen of Deontay Wilder in recent fights, I'll be literally begging Eddie Hearn to make that fight. You know what I mean? That's how much I personally think that Deontay Wilder has regressed. But anyway, that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think Deontay Wilder is right to come back? Do you think his comeback will be successful? Who would you like to see him fight after Tyrell Herndon? Let me know in the comments. But that's all from me. A little video on the rise and demise of Deontay Wilder. As I said, please let me know in the comments what you think about it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Really appreciate it. And if you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. I am out.